Ladies and gentlemen, it's not a secret anymore that the global sentiment is strongly against China. In fact, just a few minutes back, the American President Donald Trump labeled the global COVID pandemic as a plague from China. Whether it's the coronavirus, whether it is its dirty politics around Hong Kong, or it's what it calls its social imperialism, its expansionist policies, China is facing the real heat from world powers who are now collaborating with India to send Beijing a strong message.
A power-packed digital strike that has rattled business houses in Beijing.
भारत के लोगों की सुरक्षा के लिए भारत डिजिटल स्ट्राइक करना भी जानता है। यह है भारत का संकल्प और साहस, यह हमें समझना चाहिए।
A joint India-US economic punch that has added to China's worries.
Look, the Chinese Communist Party's brutality affects the rest of the world too. We welcome India's ban on certain mobile apps that can serve as appendages of the CCP's surveillance state. India's clean app approach will boost India's sovereignty. It will also boost India's integrity and national security, as the Indian government itself has stated.
A joint naval exercise with Japan in the Indian Ocean region to send a strategic message. Deeper defense ties with Russia, which has also decided to accelerate India's defense deliveries.
Indian military contingent कल रेड स्क्वायर पर आज करेंगे। यह हमारे दोनों देशों के आर्म फोर्सेस के बीच एवरलास्टिंग फ्रेंडशिप की एक मिसाल है। मॉस्को में मेरी विजिट कोविड पैंडेमिक के बाद इंडिया के किसी भी ऑफिशियल डेलीगेशन की पहली एफआरएफ विजिट है। यह हमारी खास दोस्ती का एक प्रमाण है।
Australia's decision to sharply increase defense spending with its focus mainly on Indo-Pacific region, and UK sending a message to China for annexing Hong Kong's autonomy while offering its people citizenship route.
The law also threatens the freedoms and rights protected by the joint declaration. We made clear, Mr. Speaker, that if China continued down this path, we would introduce a new route for those with British national overseas status to enter the UK, granting them limited leave to remain with the ability to live and work in the UK and thereafter to apply for citizenship, and that is precisely what we will do now.
Be it on COVID, Hong Kong or LAC face-off, China finds itself getting isolated increasingly. In this global scenario, India has approved acquisition of fighter aircraft and missiles worth 38,900 crore rupees. The enemy better watch out on all fronts. Let's debate.
From Hong Kong, I have Andrew K.P. Liu. From Washington, I have Michael Kugelman of the Wilson Center. Member of Parliament of the Tibetan Parliament of Free Tibet, Namgyal Dolka Laghari is with us tonight. Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow ORF, Smita Prakash and Nupur Sharma of the BJP. Andrew, look what you've done. Look where you started and look where you got. You got a bloody nose. We are mobilizing beautifully. Yes, we have thousands of forces not far from each other, but we have more than you. Our logistics, our deployment is working wonderfully. In fact, this is a fantastic period because we've really geared up militarily. And we have hundreds of fighter jets. We have now many extra 100 Astra missiles. We have hundreds of Meteor missiles. Our Rafales being delivered quickly. We've deployed our Pinakas, long-range land attack cruise missile systems all deployed. BrahMos, all deployed, ready. Our submarines, our naval equipment, everything ready. But best part of it has been that we have really ramped up militarily and diplomatically while crushing you economically. Look where you got. Your companies are getting blocked one by one across the entire world. And you know this is not fiction. Your telecom entities, your digital entities, your paywalls are all being broken. Everyone's cocking a snook at you. Today, even Myanmar, which you considered your friend, is fed up with this new concept of social imperialism and has told you to stop supporting terrorist groups on Myanmar's soil. I feel so sorry for you and for the embattled Jinping, who will soon start facing questions from his own Communist Party. The Taiwanese government today said, I don't know if you noticed, Sushant, it said, just don't transit through Hong Kong, Macau. You know, Myanmar is so livid today that its senior general Min Aung accused you of supplying funds to terrorist groups. Look at it, you've become a terrorist state. Your partners are calling you a terrorist state. You lost to Bhutan globally. I mean, look at you. You are so petty that you tried to stop the funding of a wildlife sanctuary in Bhutan. They actually did that, Nupur. They did that, didn't they? Everyone saw. They did that, didn't they, Sushant? I was shocked. They said, don't give Bhutan money for a wildlife sanctuary. Bhutan said, what? Have you lost your mind? They said, no, your soil is our soil now. So the conclusion here is that what is casually described as a state of craziness and more formally described as a political apocalypse happening around Jinping. See, I know your troubles. I know that COVID is back in Beijing. I know that large parts of your country are rebelling against the way in which Jinping treated people during COVID. I know that you cannot handle Hong Kong. I know that you've sterilized millions of men Uyghur men in Xinjiang. I know you've targeted Uyghur women in Xinjiang. How unfortunate. But then look where you are right now. I mean, what the hell are you going to do? Conquer the world, huh? Andrew? You're going to conquer the world.
Well, are you allowing me to respond, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I can continue, but if you wish to, you can.
I know you can continue the whole
I would be delighted to hear your response.
All right. No doubt.
I would also like it if you can point out a single factual inaccuracy in any of my above statements. Leave aside my subjective opinion. On facts, if you, Andrew K.P. Leung, before a live television audience in India can prove me factually wrong on one of them, I will concede defeat on the debate. But point me factually wrong.
Okay. Am I allowed to speak now?
Yeah. Just relax. Don't behave like Jinping. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, no doubt that China has gotten more active than before. And then there is the whole world with China's scares being created. No doubt that you will look at what China is doing. It's never, sort of set boots on the ground, unlike other countries. But I think that this is almost inevitable.
Because China is becoming more and more economically powerful and also militarily more powerful, and then also threatening the world liberal order led by the United States.
Louder.
And obviously, a lot more countries feel uncomfortable. But you talk about isolation. Obviously, the countries hostile to China are unlikely to be much more anxious.
One second.
But on the other hand,
okay,
there are a lot of countries, including Southeast Asia and other countries, especially in Asia, which do not want to choose sides between the United States and China, because China has become the largest trading partner to more countries, many more countries.
Andrew, if that is the case and you are so powerful, can I ask you a simple question?
No, I'm not saying that you're so powerful.
You are so powerful.
That there are.
You are so powerful, aren't you?
Silent friends.
So Smita wants to respond to you. One sec. Andrew, right. And one minute. Just a minute. You are so powerful. Sushant is on the debate. You are so
I'm not saying that
powerful.
China
You are
is
such a power. America is against you. The world is against you. You are the emerging threat. You are the emerging nation. Everybody else ought to accept that. They need to give you respect. Have you ever thought why Vietnam has been kicking you every day? Vietnam attacks you every
I
day.
think that
If you are so powerful, why can't you handle Vietnam? Vietnam,
I'm
its
not
foreign
saying that
ministry says you have lost your balance because of your designs on the South China Sea. And your drills are violating all countries' sovereignty. They have told you to clear off.
well, as far as the South China Sea is concerned,
It's not the South China Sea,
obviously,
it has to be renamed. It's the West Philippine Sea, I
let's
think.
talk about the South China Sea first.
West Philippine Sea.
The China
West
Sea,
Philippine Sea.
of course, is seen by China
The West Philippine Sea.
as the conduit.
How is it a China
for
Sea?
China's economic lifeblood. And of course, China has got claims. Other countries have got claims. So I don't think that this question.
As per
about
maritime laws, you
sovereignty
don't
is very,
own
very
the sea.
sensitive.
No.
But I don't think it can be resolved militarily by either side.
Sushant wanted to respond. Sushant,
I think
the debate is not between you and me. I'm opening it up. Sushant, please, Sushant.
Than confrontation.
Arnab, I think the myth of a peaceful rise of China has broken.
Yes.
For many of us, it had broken a long time back. But somehow, there was romanticization about China in the West, especially in the US. Many of the US academics. And sometimes I wonder that the US academics are so well read, they're such good scholars, but somehow they don't seem to learn anything about the real world. And this whole business that the Chinese will rise and they will become a friendly country to the US and to the West, and they will abide by the norms which have been set, a rules-based order, that was bunkum, right? And that has now turning out to be true. The second thing is that a lot of people have admired the rise of China. No doubt about it. They've done well for themselves. But the way they've been pushing their way around, and like you said, Bhutan, a tiny country, 600,000 people.
Very sad.
And this big bully comes and tries and, dominates Bhutan, tries and bullies it. And it does it to all the countries in the region. Now, the thing is that there is a sense of an incipient pushback. It still hasn't crystallized. But I think, for example, the Indians are really cut up with the Chinese now. I think any illusions or any romanticism that some people in India had is gone down the drain.
Yeah, there was
It'll take a long time for the Chinese to rebuild any kind of trust. I think the US, of course, is really cut up. Europe is now feeling the pressure.
Australia
have faced
Australia,
this kind of Chinese,
Sushant.
bullying.
Australia,
yeah. Australia has done it. Most of the Southeast Asian countries are feeling it. Somehow, they have not managed to crystallize or coalesce around some kind of a framework in which they can say, goodbye to China. It will take some time. It will lead to some dislocation. But look at it this way: who are China's friends? Pakistan, which is a bankrupt country, North Korea, and some other countries. Basically, if the Chinese were to lose the markets in India, in the US, in Europe, in Australia, in large parts of Southeast Asia, Japan, Taiwan, what is China left with? Pakistan? For God's sake, this is what they want. I wish Pakistan on them. I really wish Pakistan on them. And they will understand
Andrew,
what it means to have.
That's a nice way of putting it. I love that expression. I love that expression. I'm going to use it too. It puts so much together, doesn't it? Nupur is laughing. It's a beautiful choice of words. I'm going to use it too. I wish Pakistan on you. I wish Pakistan on you. It's a very delicate phrase. Beautifully used. Commend you on that. I wish Pakistan on you, Andrew. Andrew, I wish Pakistan on you.
Of China.
Now my question is,
China is about to sign.
I want to bring in the member of parliament from Tibet, Namgyal Dolka Lagari.
In the whole world.
The Tibetan people are also rising. There is consternation, there is anger, and a lot of pent-up anger that the people of Tibet feel for what has happened. It's naturally today they stand with also their Uyghur brothers and sisters. Would you like to say something to Andrew K.P. Leung, who says, no, we are a rising power, the world is against us because we are questioning the liberal order of the United States. Namgyal, please, to Andrew K.P. Leung. Yes, please.
Well, Arnab, what I've just heard is pretty much I've been hearing the entire time. It's the CCP propaganda that has been played, repeated again and again.
Please.
What you will see is a clear imperialist superiority complex.
God, yeah.
How they seem to be in this illusion that the entire world is reliant upon them.
Yeah.
But I think the reality behind that is also something that we all should learn together.
Andrew.
It's a fact.
Yeah. Go on, please. I'm just fixing something.
It's a fact that
Andrew.
the kind of pride that the boast that we see from CCP propaganda is all because of the contribution of the world, I would say. We have, in all these years, allowed China to reach in the position that they have, for them to be this illusion that the entire world is reliant upon them. But a reality that we all have to understand is, as much as the world is reliant upon them economically, they are way more reliant upon the world if we all unite together to stand against China and isolate CCP. And that is something we can achieve, and that is something that we should strive for. Because the world has to learn from Tibet, the world has to learn from Uzbekistan, from southern Mongolia, from Taiwan, from Hong Kong. We have to learn that when all of us were shouting, crying for the support, we have seen the world compromise with China. We have seen the world stoop down from China because of economic gains. However, the reality now is we know that if we all stand together, if we all boycott China together, if we all isolate China together, we will be in a position where we can make China realize that they need the world and not the other way around. And the sort of imperialist superiority complex that they have is something that they must get rid of.
Yes. I've been reading, Michael, the pamphlet called The Global Times. And increasingly I observed that from sounding threatening, it has turned nervous, then paranoid, and of late I have been finding it slightly comic. Its most recent request, please don't let Chinese companies get blocked from Indian infrastructure and 5G. Have you also observed the change in tone, Michael, and where do you see this headed?
Well, certainly there's a major change in tone, and I would argue that wolf warrior diplomacy is experiencing a major backlash right now. The scale of the global consensus that's increasing toward pushing back against China, it's quite unprecedented, perhaps. And the fact that you'd have a country like Sweden, which never has any problems with China. Sweden has been closing down its Confucius Institutes because it's not getting along with China. So I acknowledge that there is much more pressure. There's building consensus, including from players that ordinarily would not want to get involved in this. But that said, I don't think we should overstate the hostility here. I don't think we should overstate the gathering hostility in the part of the world. You know, say what you will, but the world has a very strong interest in engaging with China rather than disengaging with it. Chinese investments and assets are everywhere. Its markets are tantalizing. And to think that the world is just going to try to isolate China and give up on it, it's not going to happen. And from the perspective here of Washington, here in the United States, I would argue that the U.S.-China relationship has been on a collision course ever since the Trump administration released its first national security strategy in 2017, when it designated China as a national security threat. And things have been getting worse since then. Donald Trump does not seem to have much fondness for China at all. However, keep in mind that it's an election year here in the United States. China bashing really pays off in an election year, especially when you start when Trump rolls out the China stealing U.S. jobs charge. U.S. unemployment is higher than it's been since the Great Depression, particularly with the pandemic making things worse. I think that Trump is particularly politically vulnerable now. They connect the dots. He needs to shore up support from his base. But I think that the rhetoric on the U.S. side is strong, but perhaps not as strong as it would be if there were not an election that was going to be coming up in the next few months. That said, I do agree with you that we are seeing what could be an unprecedented effort on the part of the world to try to develop a consensus to push back against China. But it will have its limits because for the economic reasons that I mentioned before, the world will not want to go too far.
Yeah, but the other way of looking at it is that it's an election year, you say, and that is the reason why China issue gets precedence. Now, it continues to be an election year till the end of the year, Michael, and it continues to be an election year early next year. We're looking at the next 6 months. I think in the next 6 months, you're going to see the world standing up to China, maybe for different reasons. I mean, we saw, I was actually, and I'm sure you noticed, even Justin Trudeau went very strongly anti-China. I'm sure you observed that some of the strongest statements against China and what it's doing in Xinjiang didn't come from a Trump administration. It came from Germany. It came from Scott Morrison in Australia. So, it's becoming a little broader, and perhaps there is a growing sense, Smita, that China has negotiated its way too much with the rest of the world, and now it's time to negotiate back. Maybe that's also necessary. And I truly believe also, Smita, before I say that all of this has been brought upon China by itself. I also believe that it's got a lot to do with the pressures that Xi Jinping finds himself in post-COVID. He also needs to distract people away from asking questions on how we handle the COVID situation.
Look,
Smita.
Arnab, we are years away from any kind of an axis. I agree with Michael that, there might be countries, the ones that you mentioned, who might, have something against China, whether territorial, whether economic or whatever, but we are years away from it. There is no axis forming against China, even if we would like one to happen. Now, we have, like, for example, Taiwan, Japan, Vietnam, Philippines, Myanmar, and many other countries in the Asia-Pacific region, including India and Australia. Without doubt, the aggressive and hostile behavior of the Chinese Army, Navy, Air Force, they are behaving like a marauding force, which is like they just come and they're flouting every international rule norm. They just come and they take whatever they think is theirs, historically, militarily, cartographically. They just are going about taking everything. But President Xi's policy, now this is an elaborate keep all of China's neighbors unstable and at risk from this mighty superpower. Now, the point is that if everybody is fed up, do you think that they are going to form an axis? That's not going to happen. Especially let's just look at India. We've had this strategic autonomy, which is our foreign policy right now. So it has served us well for a long time, but we've put on blinkers as far as China is concerned. And now maybe it's time to move away from that. If Prime Minister Modi could put non-aligned movement, our participation in that at such a high level, we put it aside. We put 5-year plans aside. It's time now to put that strategic autonomy also aside. We have to move, and we've been forced to do this because of China. The gentleman out here, Andrew, said that there are countries which are hostile to China. Excuse me? We did the Wuhan spirit. We did that Chennai dialogue. Where did it get us? What happened to us? We believed that India and China together could be a force. What did China do to us? It stabbed us repeatedly.
Thankless.
You pushed us to this. You pushed us towards America. You pushed us towards an axis, not us.
No, there's one more point. This Andrew said, the world is against us. First of all, this victim complex that you are having is very worrying. Because no, Andrew, don't take it otherwise.
No doubt that there
Why are
many
Chinese suffering from a victim
China,
complex?
Okay?
Is that a good positioning for you?
countries are working themselves into a frenzy.
No. We are not in a frenzy. We are completely relaxed. You're in a frenzy.
Going to be productive.
No, one second. Andrew, 1 point. Andrew, none of us are in a frenzy, okay? We have, your biggest, what you have always thought. And we understand Chinese better than you, okay? We are not just connoisseurs of Chinese food. We understand your mind. Your biggest strength has been what you perceive that the world doesn't understand you well enough, which also becomes your diplomatic and strategic disguise, that you believe that, you will use these art of war measures and you will move in stealth. But, when you say that, why are people doing this to us? My counter to you, if I may please, before the BJP spokesperson comes in, everyone's on. I'm saying to you, we're doing unto you what you've done to us. You gave impossible market access restrictions. You built up the worst non-tariff barriers. Indian IT companies like TCS, HCL, Infosys, Tech Mahindra, Wipro were crippled because you created terrible market access restrictions. You iron-walled yourself and you're saying, oh, why are you stopping us? I mean, do you know this? And I point out, I'll leave this and then Nupur can take over. You made foreign investment so difficult. You put conditions like a 70-year leasehold. 70-year leasehold at maximum and mandatory investment of over millions of dollars in your underdeveloped West to procure an investment visa. You made access to market, capital, entry of liquidity impossible. You are the people. You, Andrew. Someone's got to tell you the truth. I'm the most impolite anchor when it comes to stating facts. You put impossible market access restrictions to foreign investors. You put in your special administrative measures for foreign investment access. Financial services blocked, media blocked, culture blocked, telecommunications blocked, vehicles blocked, transportation equipment blocked. You blocked everyone. We're reciprocating. Do you understand? We're returning the favor. Do you understand, Andrew?
Can I respond?
No, you do respond. You debate with Nupur.
Can I respond?
Okay, you respond. The Nupur listens. Nupur responds.
I think the best.
No, we are reciprocating. I'm saying I'm reciprocating. You should say thank you.
Well, can I respond? I think the best answer to that is of course, China needs the world, but also the world needs China.
Come on. That's such
I think that what's coming
hackneyed
up is
argument.
quite interesting. Because the world's biggest free trade agreement, which is the regional comprehensive economic partnership, including all the ASEAN countries together with ASEAN countries partners, is going to be the biggest trading bloc in the whole world.
Do better than that.
I think probably given the past of Indo-China relations and what has happened in the past, Chinese people perhaps are imagining that that's how it's going to be. Everybody is going to bend over backwards. No, I'm sorry to burst your bubble. And I'm sorry, it's not just an election year in America. It is also the year where China exported a virus and forced a complete lockdown on the rest of the world.
Nupur.
This is the year of that. It's just not an election year. That's why 27
this is the year
countries,
of the China
including India
virus.
today, that's why 27 countries, including India, today morning at the UN had to actually support Hong Kong. And mind you, India for the first time spoke in favor of Hong Kong. So much so Taiwan, Australia, UK have offered residency to dissenters from Hong Kong. And I don't know what bubble you're living in. Whenever you've tried to interfere in regional issues, can you not see what's happening in Nepal? Party members of Prime Minister KP Oli are actually now revolting against him. You tried to sheepishly pass off a press statement in the UN blaming India for the attack at the Pakistani stock exchange. The US and Germany actually stopped you from doing that. So I do not know, and I agree with you, Arnab, when you say it's a victim complex. 2 days ago, they were saying that India is going to be at a loss by banning all these applications. And today morning, Global Times is saying that, oh, we are going to lose, the company which runs TikTok is going to lose $6 billion. Well, who cares? You brought it upon yourself. You are the people, you have yourselves to blame for this misery. And any country, please show me which country is in your support. And if you wish, like Sushant rightly said, you wish Pakistan upon yourself, well, congratulations. congratulations and good luck to you.
No, you are also complaining about media, perception, etc. On a lighter note, please don't take this otherwise. You know that Xi Jinping thinks that he looks like Winnie the Pooh, right? And that is the reason why Winnie the Pooh, Andrew. Oh no, please don't laugh, Namgyal. I'm just speaking facts. I never stray away from facts. That's my central premise here. Winnie the Pooh was blocked in China on their social media websites because, Andrew, Xi Jinping was believed to look like Winnie the Pooh. So that's how, I'm only giving that as an example of the censure that you have of content in media and movies. Am I wrong?
This is very uncivil.
Well, I'm only saying that isn't it true? You may think it uncivil, but isn't it true that you excessively censure content in media and movies so much that you had banned images of Winnie the Pooh after comparisons were drawn between Xi Jinping and Winnie the Pooh?
Well, it's up to you to pile in.
I'm quoting news reports of November 2019. But let me ask you, you block Wikipedia, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google, you block everyone. You asked Microsoft, Dell and HP, you targeted them, did you not? Did you not violate the WTO? Tell me. You violated the WTO. You pressurized foreign firms to transfer some sectors to disclose IP content. You restricted the ability of foreign operators to transfer personal data and important information outside of China. Am I wrong?
Talking about blocking.
Counter me,
talking about
Andrew.
Blocking. And well, Chinese technology companies is also being blocked in the United States.
I mean, I am only saying today. My point is, after doing all this, you're complaining.
Well, I'm not complaining. I'm only stating
you
the
are.
fact.
Global Times is crying. Why is India not letting us in the infrastructure sector, telecom sector, digital sector?
Yeah. Well,
why are they crying?
Like this program, I'm the poor guy, being sort of set up to with all this insult.
No, I'm not insulting anyone. Where is there a single insult? I take objection. There has been no insult. I described the situation to you. But we have a free media. You see, you're not used to it. One day you will have.
I'm very used to it.
One day you'll be liberated.
On the show.
One day you'll be liberated.
One small bit of trivia, Arnab. They even forced state guests, delegates who travel to China to actually surrender their passports while they stay. I went for a pre-BRICS workshop in 2016. They forced everybody from all those countries within BRICS to surrender their passports for the duration they were there. Which other country does that? It's extremely dangerous. And yes, India is right in actually stopping all these apps and ensuring that telecom companies are thrown out from here. And by the way, how many companies after Tesla have pulled out of China?
Sorry, what do you say? How many countries? What?
Your country is a security threat. And that's why the world is boycotting you and cornering you. Sorry to burst your bubble.
Well, I think the fact remains that there are more countries trading with China. Having China is the biggest trading partner many more times compared with even the United States, let alone India.
Listen,
all right?
so my point is...
crying?
No, my point
Why
is...
Global Times crying every day?
My point is...
We are going to lose so much money. Stop crying, man.
My point is, why were you abusing your power? The point that Sushant said, if everything was going fine for you, why did you get overambitious? Why did you... No. You see. Can I please? Can I get Namgyal into the debate? So you understand, you don't think you're my punching bag today. You're not my punching bag. I'm debating with you. My point is, analyze for me, why has China abused its power? And did you not believe that on the other vector there would be a new world order, which maybe a country like India would say, no, we are an old civilization. We are a strong nation, and we are very clear about our nationalism, and we will steer you back.
It's a very serious misconception that China wants to conquer the world. China doesn't want to conquer the world.
No,
but
it's
China
not about
doesn't want to replace the United States.
Sushant.
Apart from anything else.
Sushant.
This is absurd.
China's not capable of doing that.
Arnab, this is the most absurd thing I've heard the whole evening today. China doesn't want to conquer the world. You go to China, look what they've done in South China Sea. Where did the 9-dash line come from? They are basically taking an international seaway, converting it into their own personal lake, and going to stop all traffic on that place. It's basically inviting a kind of a war in that region, and every small country they are bullying into accepting this fictitious claim which they have. Suddenly they'll come across 2,000 years back, some emperor of ours went to such and such place, that is the part of China. So for God's sake, then the whole of China is a part of India, because somebody from India went to China and spread some culture out there, spread something out there. So all of China is a part of India. This is the kind of absurd logic which these fellows use. And now it's Vladivostok is a part of China. South China Sea is a part of China. Parts of Nepal are a part of China. India is a part of China. What is not a part of China? Please tell us.
What was perceived to be, Andrew? Andrew, perception is important. I agree with Michael to a point that you are an important economy. The world will continue to do business with you. But Michael,
Arnab, can I just intervene for a short?
Yes, please.
Just a one-finger intervention.
Please.
Look, I don't disagree with what Michael and what Smita was saying.
Yeah.
These things don't happen overnight.
Yeah.
You don't break off all linkages overnight. No,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
But I think the kind of sudden awakening which has happened to the danger that China imposes to virtually every country in the world, whether it is the kind of blackmailing they do because of their manufacturing capacities, which incidentally have been built on the back of technologies which the West has taken to China, not because of the Chinese have developed any own technology of their own.
Yeah.
So everybody is now realizing that this kind of dependence on China for the supply chains, for production lines, it's disastrous.
The other thing is also the domestic economy.
The
other thing is that their domestic.
But I think the shift is inevitable.
Yeah, but Michael, like he kept saying today, the world needs us. The world needs us. Now, I've been seeing a lot of pictures of ghost cities in China, massive infrastructure built, huge investment put in, but no consumption. So I think the Chinese should also be cognizant that to keep the wheels of their giant economy going, they will have to continue to need to collaborate with the world, not rattle the world. Michael.
Well, no, absolutely. I agree with you there, Arnab. But I look at this in a bit of a different way.
There is no doubt that China wants to cooperate with the world. As I refer to this huge trading bloc, this regional comprehensive economic partnership, that's cooperation.
Sure.
And you talk about our colleague here, it's very, very insightful, referring to 2,000 years before. Now,
no, I'm not referring, I'm referring to today.
Years before, the biggest country on earth is India and China. And the two nations cooperated. There was never, this kind of conflict.
Yeah, but there was no Communist Party of China.
But you were behaving very differently a month back.
And then any kind of confrontation, any kind of rhetoric, scary things about China is counterproductive.
Fine.
And I think China understands the
That's one point. So, Michael, my question to you was about China also needing to work with the world and not against the world.
You see, the idea of disengaging with China would represent a major paradigm shift. And I agree with Sushant, that's not something that can take place overnight. It's going to take quite a long time. But, think of it this way. What is one of the world's greatest needs right now? Infrastructure, right? What country has been able to mobilize and deliver infrastructure projects, infrastructure investments on the level that China has? Now, you could argue that maybe there's some other country, whether it's the United States or someone else, that could step up to the plate and deliver on the level that China has. But it simply cannot happen anytime soon. And even there, in Asia and South Asia, China, no one's going to hold a candle to what China has been able to do. So I go back to my original point. I just think that it's very hard to imagine the world simply just reorienting, doing a course correction or reset, It simply doesn't work that way.
No, look, if what Michael is alluding to is the Chinese capability to build infrastructure and throw its money, yeah, of course they can do that. If the Americans were ready to throw that kind of money, the Americans would do just as good a job. If the Indians had that kind of money, everybody would do that kind of a good job. But the problem is that the way the Chinese are sloshing money and the projects on which they are sloshing money is what is now called the debt trap diplomacy. Now, I can understand a third-rate country like Pakistan mortgaging its future to the Chinese. They do it every time. They need somebody, some patron at every stage. But let's talk about any country with any degree of self-respect. Everybody would want that infrastructure. Everybody would want development. But at the cost of their sovereignty, at the cost of their territory, and that is what the Chinese have done. So whether it's Kyrgyzstan, whether it's Tajikistan, whether it is Pakistan, where I think the Gwadar port is very soon going to be leased out to the Chinese, whether it is Sri Lanka, where they've taken the Hambantota port, whether it is in Africa, where they're making land grabs out there, I think the countries are waking up to the reality of this infrastructure development which Michael is talking about. That is also creating its own resistance.
Well, I thank you very much, everyone, for joining on the program. Andrew, if the Communist Party of China were to send representatives of my program, then I wouldn't have to put those uncomfortable questions at you. But I thank you all for joining me on this debate.